I'm sure you noticed that you're cognizant of one of the challenges Selma faces. It's one of the poorest counties in the country. The white poverty rate in Dallas County is 15%. It is 17% for Latino residents, and 39.1% of African Americans in Dallas County, which is Selma, live in poverty. What would you do for a city, an historic city like Selma, that is under these conditions?
Well, I think the first thing is that we need a new president. We know that. Secondly, we need to win big, which to me means getting some help and friends to the African American community, specifically African American women that have been really shouldering support for the Democratic Party for a long, long time. And this time, kind of like in 2018 when we won a bunch of those House races and put Nancy Pelosi in as Speaker of the House, this time we're going to have to build a big, big coalition. And when we do that, we can then get the bills through Congress and send Mitch McConnell packing. The specific, because I'm just being about how we get this done in a big way, the best way would be to take back the U.S. Senate in addition to the presidency. Okay, so what do we need to do once we get there? Well, the first, Congressman Clyburn has a bill to invest, and Corey is carrying it in the Senate, and that is to invest in perpetually impoverished communities, to make sure that 10% of federal funds go to counties where 20% of the people have been, at least 20%, as you know, some are more, have been poor for 30 years. 10, 20, 30. And he's actually gotten some of this passed for ag money, but it's the idea to broaden it out for other kinds of federal funding. Secondly, I'm sure you were just speaking to my friend Elizabeth, all of these investments we need to make in terms of childcare and education. And there is a way to do it, because those tax cuts that the Republican just passed, a lot of that money went to the top. In fact, the president went down to Mar-a-Lago after he signed it, and he literally said to a fancy ballroom of his friends, "You just got a lot richer." Yeah. Were any of you in the room? Yeah, I didn't think so, no. Well, I didn't want to embarrass anyone, you know, if you were. But of course you weren't, and that's because that money went to wealthy people. So taking that money back and putting it into things like universal child care and putting it into things like communities that need the help, I think will make all the difference. And then the last thing I hope we talk about is just voting rights and making sure that everyone can vote and making those changes. But I don't think our economy can function well if people aren't part of it, if people don't have a good enough education through our public schools. My mom taught second grade until she was 70 years old, and I went to public schools, and so did our daughter, and so I feel pretty strongly about it. And our daughter was in a school that was 90% free and reduced lunch for a number of years in the Twin Cities, and I got to see what happened when people didn't have anything, and kids getting their dinner out of vending machines, and what would happen in the school. And I am so committed to higher pay for teachers, better infrastructure for our schools, and better schools in areas that don't have as much money.